but that's life. The show must go on. So let me see if Kevin's still with us. All right. Everybody can hear me. Look, good afternoon and welcome to Reason with Rattigan with yours truly, Will, the Rebel Rattigan. I want to say thanks for your continued support and encouragement. And as I mentioned last week, we are now moving into the intensified phase. Right, Virgin Richie? We are moving on the intensified phase of our strategy to educate our people and hold ministries, agencies, departments, essentially government accountable. We also have a humanitarian aspect to what we do, and we'll talk about that later on because there's some things that we're doing right now to help the people of Jamaica. So we'll get to that. The mission of educating our people is of utmost importance. Now, I love the theme song. Thank you. Because a nation of timid souls that's without knowledge of history and self cannot confidently march into the future. If you don't have a history, if you don't have a sense of your history and self, and if you're timid, you cannot march confidently into the future. As Malcolm said, and we say it every Saturday around here, education is a passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And that's why we do what we do every Saturday. We're preparing people for the future. Interestingly, yesterday I had a profound conversation with a friend whom I consider one of the most insightful persons on things Jamaica. He's watching. Big up yourself, my brethren. And he said to me, what you're doing is very, very dangerous for two reasons. One is, he said, you're causing people to think and to think critically. And two, this critical thinking is leading the nation to appraise and express itself regarding their situation. So in layman's terms, he's saying, look, you're telling people things and you're forcing them to think, and now people are thinking and they're seeing the light and they're talking. So he said, that's very dangerous. To any government, it's dangerous. But particularly to a corrupt government like the one we have in Jamaica. And when I say corrupt government, it's not every politician sitting in the House of Parliament is corrupt. Not, it would be ludicrous for me to say every single one of them. But based on what we've seen, based on the totality of the circumstances, the government is just rife with corruption and there's no end in sight. People are just taking in broad daylight. And we have to do something. And for me, this is a cause worth the effort. Just keep in mind that you cannot stand at point A and move to point B just by wishing. You can't say, I wish I was over there. It takes action. You have to do something in terms of progress. Progress is not going to just come and you open your front door and it's there. You have to take action. You have to do something. And as you heard, sure you've heard the saying, the only thing constant in life is change. You need to change your location, change the way you think. And that's why we're here. Now, please check out our website, ojldf.net, ojldf.net, and give us your impressions. Also, I've received several phone calls and text messages, emails, people would like to join the effort in providing tablets to the children, the school children of Jamaica, and that's a very, very worthwhile effort. We support it, and people are asking how can they make a contribution. They wanna contribute to that. You can go to give at OJLDF, GIVE at OJLDF, and that's the medium through which you can Zelle. And if it's one tablet you can buy, that's fine. If you can buy 2, 10, 20 of our brethren will contribute 20, and we're looking forward. He's trying to get another 10. We welcome that. So, and when you go, and by the way, just go to the website and check it out. We need some feedback. No, today's topics, very, very ambitious endeavor. Last week I think we had like 11 or 13 things to talk about. We only got to 2. This week I looked at the schedule, and I think it's 17. Yeah, I think it's 17. But there's no way we're going to get to 17. We're lucky if we get through 3. But it just goes to show that Jamaica is content rich. There is so much going on. There's so much to talk about. There are so many changes to be made. But it starts here. It starts with freeing the mind, taking the scales off of your eyes so that you can think and you can see. So I doubt very much we're going to get to 3, because we have several guests lined up, and it's going to take some time to go through the discussion with each and every one of them. Today's topics, just for those of you who didn't get this is just some of them. As you know, the Prime Minister is now suing the state. You can't make this up. The executive is suing the executive. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when at first we tried to deceive. The Prime Minister has put himself in an untenable position now, where the person he installed as the Attorney General, that person now they're at odds in court. And I'll show you what the judge said. But so that's one. We're going to talk about the Prime Minister suing the government. We're hoping to look at the unfulfilled promises by way of the 2016 and 2020 manifestos. Hopefully we'll get to at least some of them. Then we have a case study of whatever you want to classify: missing, unaccounted, stolen, misappropriated, the $3 trillion. We have, last week, remember, we showed you one with Grace McLean, the 124 million that is gone. It's not coming back. We have another one we want to show you, and you're going to be shocked. And then we have a commentary from a student telling you how resource poor are the schools in Jamaica, and that's a direct result of the corruption. We're also going to talk about 16,400. Yes, you heard me correctly. 16,400 and counting reasons why Minister Chang and the security architecture, they're a colossal failure. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, or we hope to talk about, the government of Jamaica fighting anti-corruption. I thought they were supposed to fight corruption, but the words coming out of an official's mouth, they're fighting anti-corruption. And we're going to show that the Integrity Commission, the FBI, and Transparency International, they're fighting crime, and they're asking Jamaica to do something about the corruption problem. We also have an interesting segment on who is the opposition. And you ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you're going to be surprised when you look at the whole opposition, the mechanism for the leader of the opposition and how the opposition can function in parliament. You're going to be surprised. It's a civics lesson, partly, every Saturday. That's what we do around here. We're also going to look at Minister Dana Morris Dixon. We call her the disingenuous communicator. And we're going to show how her statements have been debunked by PIOJ and Staten. I mean, this woman, she has unlimited gall because she knows the truth and she came out and she shrouded it. We're going to expose it. We're also going to talk about the government's promise. And when I say the government, I'm talking about my favorite minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith, and the prime minister, how they promised the diaspora that you diaspora members, you're going to have representation in the Senate. How they promised us that, and how that promise has fallen by the wayside. By the way, they also promised us that they would come up with a mechanism so that people outside of Jamaica, Jamaicans living outside of Jamaica, would be able to vote. That too has fallen by the wayside. Can't trust these people. Cannot trust them. We also hope to talk about the agricultural assistance received from Israel and Morocco. We want to ask Jamaica, the government of Jamaica, Minister Floyd Green, where is the agricultural assistance that they received? Farmers, you have to tune in. We don't know where this, the fertilizer, we talk about that, but this is different. This is the fertilizer plus. We want to know what's going on. We're also going to be looking at the government's murder statistics, and we call it an exercise in deception, because we're going to show you a document where they can just move bodies in, move bodies out, and then they don't have to, they won't impact the murder rate or the number, because they gave out a number last year saying it was 1,100 and some odd, right? We don't believe that. We do not believe that. And we have a document. We're going to show you where they hide some of the bodies. We're also, every week we're going to talk about Leslie Campbell, the convicted criminal, and where he should go, what sentence the judge should impose upon him. And then we're also going to be talking about MP Marissa Dalrymple Philibert. If she's found guilty, what sentence should she receive? And then we have another topic here. It says, can DPP Paula Llewellyn be stopped by the people, the Privy Council? Deep dive revelations. We do have that. The GLC, they regulate attorneys in private practice. And the Services Commission, they can regulate attorneys working for the government. As you heard last week or the week before from Mr. Hugh Wildman, followed by Mr. Isaac Buchanan, that the General Legal Counsel, they exert oversight over attorneys in private practice. But if you're an attorney and you're working for the government, their reach doesn't extend that far. So then you would have to go to a constitutionally created body called the Services Commission. They can impose consequences on attorneys who work for the government. So that's where we are. We're going to be doing all of that. We hope to do all of that. Tonight, Relax with the Rebel. Be prepared. You know what? Let me just talk to you straight and plain. We're supposed to have musical extravaganza tonight at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock with Mr. Hugh Wildman. So it's going to be Mr. Hugh Wildman. It's going to be yours truly and DJ Kevin Stew. Mr. Wildman, it was supposed to take place last week. He had a function he had to attend, so of course we had to postpone it for this week. And I've been in contact with him all week long. And he's trying at this point to get his engineer to make it happen. His engineer is traveling. We don't know what's going to happen, if his engineer is going to make it in time. It's 8 o'clock. If he doesn't show up tonight, then we'll just have to push it off. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow or the following week, and then it will be just a regular programming. So we'll go to 8 o'clock. Kevin will take over from 8 till 10, and then there's another DJ from 10 to midnight, and then I'll come on at midnight and go to 2 o'clock. So just stay tuned. We'll keep you updated during this broadcast. What else is there? And by the way, you know, I know Mr. Wildman's wife is watching, because I had a conversation with her last night. And this man is hell bent. Him said, I'm going to wipe. I was explain to him, it's no clash. Him said, him tell him wife is a clash. Him tell everybody is a clash. In fact, he had a conversation with Weepo from Stone Love. I think I just him I get the music from, you know. And him tell him, say, my clash. I said to him, listen, it's no clash. It's just, we just play music for the people and for ourselves. Him say, him a go wipe way up. Him a go destroy way. Him not take prisoners. Those three things I remember. Last night, him tell me this. I'm not begging him. I said, no. We shall see. Come Reason with Rattigan, the Wednesday night program. We will resume broadcasting this coming Wednesday. Dr. Ben will be on, and he has I think, one or two guests or associates with him. All right. Let's continue to pray for Papa Trevor, Ma P, Ma Jean, Desmond, Paul. Bonnie Jump, big up yourself, my brethren. Check your records, you know, because if anything missing out your record box, it's not me. All right, sir? Joanna Marie, Fittest the Hardest Dread, Mrs. Nelson, Bob De Souza, Barry, Mr. Baxter, Sassy Diva, Raleigh, big up yourself, my brother. Danny Gope, stay so, and Roland, the valiant one. Big up yourself, Roland. And of course, we have to big up the ambassadors, them, and producer Joan. All right. Now, there's so much to talk about, people. You know, it's an abundance of riches. We never know where to start. We start out during the week and say, I'm going to talk about this. Last night, that. Today, switch up all of that. No, it's like too many things. But we're going to start with this.
This land is your land. This land is my land. Jamaica's finest, the parish Saint Anne. We raise our voices, sing of her glory. This land was made for you and me. I traveled out from Rio Bueno, Discovery Bay, up through Brownstown to Alexandra, Alderton, and 9 miles where Marley came from. I saw the beauty in the mountains around Lumsden, Bamboo and Inverness. I watched the sunset from Higgintown. Claremont is where my heart rests. I passed Lime Hall, Garvey, St. Anne's Bay, the dreads of Steertown. They showed me the way to Roaring River, Chalky Hill, Davistown, St. Anne's, Sweet Sotil. This land is your land, this land is my land. Jamaica's finest, the parish St. Anne, from Ocho Rios to Manille. This land is home to you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. Jamaica's finest, parish St. Anne, glory. This land was made for you and me. This parish was made for you and me.
Yes, folks, we have to start with that. Big up Sentan, particularly Manig, Four Roads, where my grandfather, my father, all of the Rattigan them, that are for them base, Manig. So, and somebody said they sent me one for, is it St. Catherine or St. James? I don't remember. Whoever sent me, you didn't send me the video. And I sent you a message saying, please send the video because who want to play all of them, you know? So there we go. Let me move this. All right. We have several guests lined up and they're just bumping up against each other. I saw Mr. Crooks now a while ago. I don't see him now. I don't know where he went. And I don't want to start a segment without. I don't want to start a segment when there's a guest waiting because then, you know, we have to go stop it or them have to go wait and people have things to do. Big up yourself, Dorette. Hey, we have some new family. I watch you from Texas. Big up on yourself. Big up on yourself. Miss C. Big and I'll call her name. Oh, most of them from St. Anne. You must ask me if any of them come from Monig. All right. Well, here what happened. Nobody not here on time. Time just a fly. So here's what we're jumping on this thing, you know. And I sat down and I drafted this thing. I drafted it after having several conversations with people who are knowledgeable in this field, the field of the Constitution, the field of economics in Jamaica. And I had to revise what I'm going to read to you now several times because I started out with a certain perception and I was disabused of it. They took me to school and they showed me, you know, how I went off the rails, how I should get back on. And I'm telling you, there's nothing like just listening to experts and you ask the right questions and you get your answers. All right. So listen, as I mentioned last week, the creation of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, it was created 3 years ago, 3 years this month, right? It was a colossal waste of money to foolishly address the significant constitutional issues in a piecemeal manner. You know, you would think that they would take the Constitution and say, we're going to work, you know, let's continue to work with the old one, but let's come up with something new. Let's put some experts in a room, provide them with the funding and give them about 2-3 years and we can get, you know, schedule updates. Instead, what they've done is them get a few people and them just willy-nilly just try and just go around the edges and then do some things that not beneficial to the Jamaican people. We're going to expose some of that today. Now, based on statements from the opposition leader, when his party takes the mantle of power, the constitutional issues will be dealt with in a comprehensive manner. I heard him say that. So that he doesn't like this piecemeal thing. He's more, if you're gonna revise the Constitution, just do away with it and come up with a brand new one. And there's wisdom in that thought. And in my humble opinion, that's exactly how it should be done. If you want to get rid of this August 6, 1962 Constitution that was not created by us, for us, then do it wholesale. Don't do it retail. Scrap the whole thing, start all over, and move forward and Jamaicanize it. But you can't Jamaicanize something that wasn't created for Jamaicans. That's not how it works. Now, based on the timeline and the political optics, it's unlikely that this spending bill, the one that's before Parliament right now, that it will get to the referendum stage before an election. It's very unlikely. And we will talk about that because you have 3 months, you have to submit the bill, then you have to wait, it have to sit there, and people have to go over it 3 months, individually. Then they have a debate, and then after that, you wait another 3 months, then you take a vote, and then it gets convoluted after that, because it has to go to the Senate, and based on what we're hearing, they will not get the 2/3 vote in the Senate. And they need 2/3 because these provisions that you're looking at, they're deeply entrenched. Like removing the monarchy, deeply entrenched. You need 2/3 of both houses plus a referendum. Right? And you can't address this without a consensus. It can't be a JLP or a PNP. It has to be a Jamaican thing. Both parties have to say, yes, we agree. And the PNP, they've done more than telegraphed their feelings about this bill. They've come out flat out and said, no, because it doesn't contain the removal of the Privy Council as the apex court for appeals matter coming out of Jamaica. Doesn't have term limits. It doesn't have the removal clause. A lot of things. So that's where we are. No, with all due respect and honesty, let me say that Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort is an example of the Peter principle. And that is, she has been promoted to her level of incompetence. Sure, a lot of you have heard about the Peter principle, where you promote people to their level of incompetence. They promote people to a point where they don't understand what's going on. She's a jurist, she's a judge, she's a trained lawyer, but she has no business doing what she's doing right now. She's in a deep waters, and she knows it. She is to be blamed for the failures of the ministry, but there's another person to be blamed, and that is our arrogant prime minister who falsely thinks of himself as supreme in power and knowledge. And we should never let him forget that he and his underperforming ministers are to be blamed and held accountable for the unfulfilled promises made in the 2016 and the 2020 manifestos and points between. They made promises for 2016, they made promises for the 2016 election, they made promises for the 2020, and they made promises in 2017, 18, 19. They made the promises, right? Need to hold them accountable. Now, the outreach entity of the Constitutional Reform Committee's job, because they have an outreach, they still have an outreach component headed by Dr. Nadine Spence. Its purpose was to educate and encourage us to support the mandate of revising and reforming the Constitution, with particular focus on abolishing the monarchy's role and responsibility in the Jamaican society. So the primary goal of this thing is to just get rid of the king, get rid of the monarchy. There are other things too, because then they have to come up with that, they have to repeal and replace. So they have to get rid of the king and replace him with a president. And then there are other things that flow from that. So that's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to go out and grease the skids, pave the way, educate people, tell people what's going on, have meetings. Sadly, they have failed in a monumental way in communicating the message. And despite being recently invited to appear on this program to face all of you at home and abroad, they have refused. I personally invited them, and Dr. Spence read my request during one of their meetings and said, Mr. Rattigan is asked, because they were there bragging and said, oh, we'll come to your church, we'll come to your community, we'll explain, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, come over here and talk to the people. And Dr. Spence, she said, Mr. Rattigan has invited us to come on the program and explain what we're doing to the people. She continued, I cannot make it this week, but I throw it out to the rest of the committee for them to take him up on his offer. All nung, me no hear from them. Me no hear from them. But the report is now a bill before Parliament. You know, they did a report. It's now a bill. And a joint select committee of parliamentarians, including the leader of the opposition, will review the bill. And you, John and Jane Public, will have a chance to voice your displeasure with the bill before the committee, in person or in writing. And I can tell you that I, for one, plan to make a submission. We all should make a submission. There's enough there for us to complain about. And we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to where we come from, we owe it, meaning your communities, we owe it to Jamaica. It doesn't make any sense for us to complain after the ass gone through the gate. We have to do it now. And they've given us this opportunity. So let's seize the moment and do what we need to do. But you can't do it. You can't do it, people, if you're not familiar with the various offending provisions. The provisions them were not right at all. You cannot do it. You cannot complain. You cannot make a submission if you don't understand those provisions and the omissions, the things that are not in the bill that should be there. Hear me and hear me carefully. You cannot make a submission to this joint select committee. You cannot voice your feelings about it if you don't understand what's in the bill and what's not in the bill. And the real issue, yes, Valerie, I'll get the information and I'll pass it on. The real issue is not, and this is where I was focused. Me not afraid to say when me wrong, you know. When me wrong, me at first, you have to tell me jump up and say I'm wrong. My focus was it wasn't completely misplaced, but I didn't have that laser focus where it should be. I was focused on the powers of the Governor General going to the president, and they're enormous and they're concerning. I was focused on, term limits. I was focused on removing people if they're not doing their job. But where I should be focused, and I want to thank this young lady for bringing my attention to it. I should be focused, we should all be focused on the continuation of the bastardized version of the Westminster system of government imposed upon us by our complicit leaders and Buckingham Palace. Don't think for a moment that Buckingham Palace did this by itself. We had complicit leaders who did not seek the input of our people. They thought that they knew everything. We don't need to talk to these ignorant, illiterate people. We know what's best for them. So we will draft this thing and then we will take it to Buckingham Palace and have them refine it and then we'll impose it on the people of Jamaica. That's exact, in a nutshell, that's what happened. And the bill that's been contemplated in Parliament, that bill calls for the continuation of the bastardized system of government. What they've done is they're not looking at the overarching system of government. They're looking at things below. So they're not actually changing the system. They're changing aspects of the system. But in order for Jamaica to benefit and to be truly independent, you have to change the system. Because what they're asking for calls for an imbalance of power in favor of the executive. Here's how the balance of power runs in Jamaica. King, Governor General, Prime Minister, Cabinet, Ministries. Hear me and hear me well. King, the King of Jamaica. Governor General representing the King of Jamaica. Prime Minister, the Cabinet, and the Ministries. Where do we find the people's expression in the direction of the country? Where are the necessary checks and balances? How do we take off the mental chains and the scales off of our eyes? You know, this idea of accountability and the issuance of a mandate through the election process every 4 to 5 years is pure nonsense. It's a facade. They tell you that you're free, you're independent, you're democratic, and you vote, and you have a say. The plantocracy planted the seed, and that seed has germinated and has taken firm hold in our minds, and it has been perpetuated through the generations. It's time for us to break that cycle. It's time for us to uproot that tree, start all over. And a good place to start is with the advice provided by Dr. Andre Houghton and Jeanette Calder, my heroine from JAMP. If you recall, last week, Dr. Houghton was saying, you can't sit there and expect to be led. You can't sit there and wait for people to lead. You have to look within. You have your leadership qualities too. You have to look within and say, no. As a critical thinker, this is not how I want the country to be run. And then, because you're the boss, you make it clear to the politicians, to your representatives, this is what we are going to do. This is what I want you to do. And Jeanette Calder, well, he echoed her sentiment because she's of the opinion that, and I agree with her, that you cannot look at the system. You cannot look at it and say, well, I'm a voter. Because as a voter, you only have a responsibility every 4 to 5 years. You have to look at it and say, look, I'm an employer. I'm employing these people every 4 to 5 years. They come before me with their CVs and explain why is it that they should get this job. And then we give it to them by virtue of our votes. So you look at it from an owner, you look at it as an investor, because government no one is taxpayers. Everything when you see them have taxpayers. So you're invested in this. So you're an owner, you're an employer, and you're an investor. And if you see yourself in that light, you hold them accountable, not every 4 to 5 years, every day. Every day you hold them accountable. I'm going to play a Jeanette Calder's video. But before I do that, let me just tell you that next week we are going to start a series with an educator, the one who straightened me up. You know, the one who recently sharpened my focus on the nuances of the Westminster system. But not only the nuances, but the cruelty of the Westminster system. And we have colloquially referred to it as Babylon system. You know, it's funny because the country that gave us this system, they don't have a constitution. They gave us a constitution. And in their country, backbenchers in parliament have a voice. However, in Jamaica, backbenchers have no voice. None whatsoever. So, like I said, after reasoning with her, I became convinced that for constitutional change to have real meaning and effect, we must start with the deconstruction of the bastardized Westminster system in Jamaica. If we hope to make a change for future generations and ourselves, because this is happening in real time, we need to deconstruct it. We need serious people who can sit down and say, okay, because they say, oh, we want to Jamaicanize the Constitution. It's just words like a string of pearls. And just look pretty, sound pretty, look pretty. That's all. You have to deconstruct the system. We have to have serious people sit down and say, okay, let's just get rid of this Westminster thing and figure out a way how we can do what's best for Jamaica and Jamaicans. And believe me, folks, it's not difficult. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's so many constitutions out there. There's so many constitutional scholars out there that this shouldn't take a long time for us to put together. Well, Trish, they don't, when I said they don't have a constitution, they don't have a constitution the way we have one, where it says, you know, the Constitution of Jamaica, of council or in council. They don't have one document. They have several documents. And it's based on laws, and it's based on tradition. Ours is based on a piece of document, August 6, 1962, called the Constitution. That's what we have. So, Trish, go back and check. Right? The UK does not have a document that says Constitution of the UK. What they have a bunch of laws and they have tradition, the way they've always done things. We don't have that. We have a constitution that they've given us. Now, keep in mind that the Constitution is a creation of both political parties and refinement by Buckingham Palace, without much input from the people for whom it was ostensibly created. That is a fact. That is a fact. And despite the amendments over the years, the Constitution is still designed to benefit our absentee landlord, the monarchy, represented by Charles III. And who's Charles III? The King of Jamaica. And I want somebody to challenge me when I say that Charles III is the King of Jamaica. Now, let me play the, let me see if, let me see if it's here. Okay, here we go.
The other day, I'm not just a citizen of Jamaica. As a citizen, it's telling you where you belong. I am more interested in looking at this problem through the lens of an owner. It is actually true that all that money in the bank belongs to us. All the government's assets that the Auditor General is talking about, this thing named government, is really the people's. That's the first thing. I'm an owner. The second thing is I have to look at it through the lens, not just of a voter. Yes, I sat. There's an election coming up. That election is actually a hiring mechanism. I am employing 63 public officials who have to step aside, and we have to revisit who. So if I'm employing them, that makes me what? An employer. As an employer, I don't have the responsibility of a voter. A voter has one thing they have to do really almost every 4 to 5 years, dip your finger. But an employer has to be paying attention what? Far more often than that. And the last thing is, I am not just a taxpayer. A taxpayer is the person who Parliament write a law and say, you have to give me this. I see it as I am a financier, because everything that the government is going to do, I am financing it, and I want a return on my money, because that is what a financier wants. So Jeanette and the team at JAMP sees themselves as owners, employers, and financiers. So when I'm a financier and I hear that Barita or whoever is fooling around with my money, I'm going to hold somebody to account. How are the citizens going to do this? How are you going to make your voice heard? There are many ways. And call me the fool that I be, but I've been paying attention to governance in Jamaica for 15 years. And I sat every single time the people of Jamaica lean in and say, it nah go so. It does not go so. So who is really at fault here? Is it the employee, the 63 parliamentarians, or the employers? They are waiting for us to lean in on this matter. And there are several ways to do it. And I'm just going to share with you one way that JAMP has come up with. What people don't understand, and you're young in this thing as a politician, I said, but I've had politicians, one in particular who has been in this
teach
a
me.
long time. And I'm afraid to say, I sit down having a drink with him at Acropolis one day. And he said to me, Jeanette, the people think we don't listen enough. We listen and we watch everything. I said, really? He said, yeah, man. You think we don't watch it? You call a call-in show, we are listen. You write the editor, we are listen. You only think we're not listening. So I'm saying to the Jamaican people, find any way you're comfortable to raise your voice. But Jamp has come up with a way which I think ISAT could be a game changer. And I'd like to ask Will if he could just put.
All right. So the thing there, that we are talking about. That we are talking about. And somebody put inside there that the UK have a constitution, but it's in all over the place. That's exactly what I'm saying. They don't have a constitution. They don't have a document that says constitution. They have different laws. They have and tradition. We have a constitution, and we did not create that constitution on our own. That constitution was developed, started, but it was completed by Buckingham Palace. So think about that. Them give we a constitution, but them don't have the same document, similar to where we give we. So you're right, they have an unwritten one. So all right, enough of that. Enshrined in our constitution is the position of the monarch's overseer, the governor general, right? And our governor general is a man who lives a life of luxury, expense-free on the backs and the sweat of our brothers and sisters, the Jamaican taxpayer. And I've said this, and it's worth going over. This is a civics lesson, people, but it's also, I don't want to look at it as a civics lesson, because then it sounds confined. I want you to look at this as a lesson of how Jamaica is structured and how it affects your everyday life. Because if I say it's a civics lesson, it sounds almost like it's academic, it's a subject. You listen and then you walk away from it. I don't want you to do that. I want you to listen and see how it applies to your life, how it's affecting you. And that's part of the education and the expression. So you get the education, and then you can, you open your mouth, and then you think, and then you can express your ideas, your feelings, your thoughts about this. Instead of just sit down there like a dummy and make people just tell you things and you just follow. Kevin there with me. I'm going to add Kevin to the stage. Yes, brother.
Greetings and salutations.
Yeah. So Kevin, me I talk about this constitution, and I mean, Richard did it, but Richard never did on my call him. So Richard, just hold on a second. We'll soon come to you. So I see you. Yeah. But as I've said many times, and I've yet to be refuted. This overseer, the governor general, pays no income tax. Kevin line up everything for me earlier. Let me dig down in it. See. Now showing us some documents again, so that I can say. By the way, see him there now. That is the king of Jamaica. See how they medal there? And I better love them and respect them. Right? That is the king of Jamaica. But I don't want to believe it or not. You want to fight me? Okay. That is the king of Jamaica. Let me see what else Kevin put up there. One second there. Here we go. See that? 12A, Governor General no pay no taxes. You see that? Look at 12. There shall be exempt from tax. Governor General pay no tax. Income tax. Here's another one. Governor General no pay if import anything into Jamaica. You there and your family want to send you a car or send you this or say, you have to pay the duties and the tariffs and the taxes and whatever it is that's required. You have to pay it. Governor General no pay that. And him can bring in all animals. I think it's animals. What it say? Yes, it number 9. Once him certify it, who pay for it? Hold on there. See there? Accountant general of a pay. See, any amount payable to a collector of taxes for upon or in respect of any taxable animals or articles in possession or use of the Governor General shall be certified and then pay it. No pay nothing. Right?
So where the Attorney General, where the Accountant General get the money from?
Ah, people who are sweat. People who work day in, day out, night in, night out to support the country. Them. And him sit down there, him sit down there and represent this gentleman here. Right? And we have to love that. We have to hug it up, Kevin. There's not more we can do about it. All right. And see, tax administration Jamaica, we don't want to go into this too tough, but the Governor General, him there all over the show. He might appoint people, he might consult with people, he might do this, he might do that. And him not doing it on our behalf. Right? Let me see what this one I say. Oh, I'm going to show you something here. Hold on there. Let me see which part with it. So him not pay taxes, him not pay tariffs, him get involved in that election, subject. All right, look on this, people. How big this up. And by the way, this just happened this week, This just happened this week. Here's what happened now. There's something called the prerogative of mercy. And what it is, it's the Governor General's right to grant pardons. People who commit crimes, only one person in Jamaica can grant a pardon. And it's not the president of the Senate, it's not the prime minister, it's not the deputy prime, it's only one person. And that's the Governor General. If a little committee, them get together, them discuss it, make the recommendation to him accept or reject. But the Governor General is the one with the ultimate authority to grant pardons in Jamaica. So I said, you know what? Let me ask them. Let me ask the office of the Prime Minister. Let me ask the Ministry of Justice. Let me ask the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. Because them there are people who should know about any pardons that go on in Jamaica. Right? So I ask them, please tell me, give me the number of people who have been granted pardons since 2016. That's question one. Question two, give me the names of the people who have been granted pardon. All of this should be public record. And number three, for every person who has received a pardon, please identify the nature and the date of the crimes for which they were convicted. Right? Sounds normal. Hear them tell me, look at that. Mr. Rattigan, this serves to advise you that the office of the Prime Minister does not hold information in relation to any of the questions being posed above. And look what I'm telling me, look what I'm saying below it. Further, it should be noted that the office of the Governor General is exempt from the provisions of the access to information. That is the law, that says government have to give information, except where they don't have to. And you can write to any government, ministry, agency, or department and ask for information. And they say, no, you, under the law, you can't ask this Governor General nothing about that. And he see them quoted to me, it says, this act shall not apply to the Governor General to the exercise of powers and duties conferred or imposed on him by or under the Constitution of Jamaica or under any other law. This is what I'm telling me. I'm gonna get response from the office of the Prime Minister. I get a response from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and the same thing them tell me. The only difference is that they said, "Here's how you can reach him. Good luck." And guess what, people? The same day them send me this. I write to the Governor General. So I wait for him now to come respond to me. But honestly, what I say. So see all the things, all the perks we him get, and him not have to respond to we at all. At all. I think we have it up here to Kevin. I think we have it. Oh, here it is right here. This is the law, the access to information. That is right here. This act shall not apply to boom, the Governor General. There it is. There it is. All right, now I move that. So I'm going to show you something now. Kevin, we should have asked him a question. You know what? Well, I won't answer. I'm going to show them something else, Kevin. I'm going to show them something that this man, the governor, like many other overseers before him, black people, they don't understand that the symbols and the trappings of their position, all of them medals them are wear, are antithetical, against, not in line with the vision and teachings of our ancestors like Nani, Hojo, Taki, Paul, Sam, Marcus, Bob, etc. You know what? Bob just did the other day, but we have to call him ancestors, you know, because him come with a message, right? Him come with many messages, like the rest of them. They are turning in their graves. They are turning in their graves. Let me show you something. Would I look on this, my people? When can I see that? I don't know how many of you remember this story. That's the archangel Michael, I think, having foot on the neck of Satan. And Satan is represented by a black person. This is what our Governor General used to wear. And remember, he got the position, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And he put on this and I wear it. But he's not the only one. People before him did it, you know. And if there's any credit to give him is that, well, when people raise it and decide, oh, right, but now about to wear it. But this is what he was wearing. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the archangel Michael. Am I correct?
I think it's Michael.
Yeah. See there? Governor General to seek review of insignia depicting black man as Satan. That's 2020. He might wear this for over 10 years. Think about that, people. Think about that. Right? Let me move this. Actually, let me make it sink in now one more time. Let me make it sink in. See the medal here with the man I wear now. That him I wear now. That him I wear. Archangel Michael represent purity and the supreme being. And look where him have him foot. Him have him foot on the neck of Satan. Black man. And our GG, I collect one money, I live big life. This is where I wear. See there? But let me finish up a piece and then I'm going to show you something in the Constitution. Time and again, this administration has promised the people prosperity. And we all know it. We heard the speeches. And what was delivered? Poverty. We were promised prosperity, and we have been given poverty. How much more can we take? I hear the cries every day. It has been written. It has been written. I'm not preaching. It has been written. Listen keenly, Richard. It has been written. Oh God, do not forget the poor. Lord, you hear the prayers of the poor. You strengthen their hearts. You turn your ear to protect the rights of the orphan and the oppressed so that mortal man may strike terror no more. Think about that. Lord, you hear the prayers of the poor. You strengthen their hearts. You turn your ear to protect the rights of the orphan and the oppressed, so that mortal man may strike terror no more. My mother, Mama Dale, used to say to me, Junior, God is able. He's not disabled. It is written again, for the poor who are oppressed and the needy who groan, I myself will arise, says the Lord. I will grant them the salvation for which they thirst. My people, it may seem long, but it won't be forever. Salvation is at hand. That am I preaching for the day. Let me just turn to
Amen.
and the congregation says.
Amen.
Now, you know, we have that segment here that we're going to look at. It's called Who is the Opposition? Who is the opposition? When you say who's the opposition, people immediately think of Mr. Mark Golding. Say he's the leader of the opposition. But there's more to it. There's more to it, and I'll show you right now. This Kevin with the Constitution there. Other one, with the one with the okay.
Where you take the excerpts?
Yeah. All right. Let me have it. All right.
Yeah.
No, I want Andrea. Say, Andrea, walk with me, Andrea. You have an opposition in Parliament, and you have an opposition outside of Parliament. Make we talk about the opposition in Parliament. First, you cannot, well, first of all, who determines who is the leader of the opposition? Let me ask a question there. Who determines that? We're going to, a minute, just tell me, who determines who is the leader of the opposition in Jamaica? All right, Donna says the people. Good answer, Donna. OT said the GG. Come in, my people. Oh, Selector Princess said the party. Dorrit, the people. Walk like a champion, the citizen. Well, the opposition. The Constitution, freedom, say. Through the people. All right. Let me make it easy. I'm telling her right now. Ruthlin said the GG. The only person in Jamaica who can appoint somebody as, and you have to be appointed. You're not elected as leader of the opposition. You're appointed. You're elected as leader of the party. So you're elected as leader of the JLP, PNP, UIC, whatever. But the only person who can say you are the leader of the opposition is this person. See it right there, so. Look at 80. This is from the Constitution. There shall be a leader of the opposition who shall be appointed by the Governor General. Anybody you hear a run and say them a leader of the opposition is either them a lie or they were appointed by the Governor General. But the people cannot appoint you leader of the opposition. The Prime Minister cannot appoint you leader of the opposition. It has to be done by the Governor General. Right? Now, here's another thing. Let me hide it because now I look on the answer already. Right? You don't look on the answer. Someone not cheat. Look on the answer.
Open book test though.
Yeah. Some of you might think that the leader of the opposition can do whatever he or she wants to do in Parliament. Let me ask you another question. So the Governor General will appoint somebody. What's the process? How does it work to appoint somebody as leader of the opposition? How? Let me explain to you by asking this question. If you have three parties in parliament, election will come. So make we say you have the JLP, you have the PNP, and you have a party called Rattigan's Rebels, right? At the third party, that the Rebel Party. And the election come. And you have to have 63 people in a parliament. We're not talking the Senate because they're appointed, they're not elected. So you have 63 people that you have to deal with. Let's say, for the sake of this discussion, the PNP, them get 22 seats out of the 63. The JLP get 21 seats. And the Rebel Party get 20 seats. Who is the leader of the opposition? Director of the party
whomever the GG appoint.
The director of the party that comes second. All right. We're not going to waste some time. We could just cut to the chase. It's up to the GG. Because here's what the law is written. It says that the person who the GG believes can command the majority of the people opposed to the government. Because if you're not with the government, if you're not in the government party, then consider you opposed to the government party, and it's the person that the GG believes can command the majority of people. So, say for example that Rattigan Alduin party come in third, the people them like him speech and like him style, and you have people that say from the JLP I say we like Rattigan. All we need is one person for crossover, right? But then the GG can say, you know what? Even though the JLP come in second and Rattigan party come third, I like Rattigan. I think he can command the majority of the people in the opposition against the government, and therefore I'm going to appoint Rattigan. It's right here. See it right there, sir? Whenever the Governor General has occasion to appoint a leader of the opposition, he shall look at the next phrase, in his discretion. You know what that means when people say do it at your discretion? Means are you in charge? He shall, in his discretion, appoint the member of the House of Representatives who, in his judgment, whose judgment? The Governor General's judgment, is best able to command the support of a majority of those members who do not support the government. And then them say, and if there's no such person, then the Governor General can look to the party with the most opposing votes. So the example I gave you, that would be the JLP. But that is not the first choice. The first choice is, okay, we have three parties, one of them win, we have two opposing parties. Who is in a position to command the support of the majority of those members? And that's what the Governor General do. And then them pick. And guess what happened? It no stop there. So when Parliament is dissolved, they have something called prorogue. Prorogue is when you just when you suspend, when Parliament basically there's a break in the session. But when the term ends, right? Prorogue is when the session ends. But when the term, which is different, because you know Parliament sits for 5 years. When the 5, like it's coming up now for election. So guess what happened? They're going to dissolve Parliament. It has to be dissolved for the election. And guess what happened when it's dissolved? The Governor General can look on the leader of the opposition and say, you see, me not like you, know. And when Parliament starts, me put somebody else in there. See it, yeah?
So now that answers my other question.
See it, yeah? If after dissolution, after any dissolution of Parliament, he's informed, this is the leader of the opposition, he's informed by the Governor General, acting in his discretion, that the Governor General is about to appoint another person as leader of the opposition. That's right here. The office becomes vacant. See that? The office of leader of the opposition shall become vacant if after any dissolution, he, the leader of the opposition, is informed by the Governor General that he might go appoint somebody else. It's right there. It's right there, people. You can't make this up. And this has been sitting there since 1962. And how many of us knew about this? My friend Tigo tell me one time, him say, I think of some white people, him say, if you want hide the truth from a black man, and I guess I must see that type of people in the South, just put it in a book. And now go read. But them times are over and done. Times change now. Times change now. People are reading now, man.
Yeah, man.
Not only black people are read, black people are write book now. You know what I'm saying? Things change. Things change. So when you hear about opposition people, there's a difference between leader of the party and leader of the opposition. The party members choose the leader of the party. Opposition is the Governor General. Now, what they will tell you is that, well, the Governor General not do them things. There's usually the man who are the leader of the party and him come in and, the Governor General will just rubber stamp it. That may very well be true, but it doesn't have to be that way. No. Make we extrapolate. Make we take this and apply it somewhere else. These are some of the powers them want to give to the president. The Governor General has vast amount of powers. And I've heard politicians on both sides say, yeah, we want to take the powers and we want to give them to the powers of the Governor General and we want to give them to the president. We can't have that. We can't have that. And I tell you what, too. The Senate, it's 21 members on the Senate. It's 13-8. The winning party, them recommend 13 and the Governor General sign off on it, and the losing party have 8. What would happen if you have 2 losing parties? The example me give you, we have PNP, JLP, and Rattigan's Rebels. What would happen in the Senate? Would Rattigan get a chance to put people in the Senate too? See, these are things where them need to contemplate. And them short-sighted. And that's why we are asking for come over here, come answer these questions. Because we want to ask them, have you contemplated this? Because Jamaica's had third parties. Going back to the 1940s, we've had third parties. And what provisions have been made for third parties in the Constitution? And if the provisions are they spelled out clearly so that we don't need interpretation? Because that's where you get into problems, when you make it just generic and then people say, well, it means this and it means that, and then you end up at court and how we go about that? Them don't. Now, people have to big up Kevin, because Kevin, I was telling Kevin this morning that Kevin should have take some time and him should just put up the Constitution, because we had a problem with the Constitution. We were looking at the page break. Some of the provisions they weren't there.
Lost information.
Yeah, and Kevin, what Kevin did was Kevin said, no, let me just take excerpts from it. I said, Kevin, that'll take too much time. But Kevin did it. God bless him. Big him up. But let me show you something else where the Governor General can do. Look on this one here. 76. Section 76 of the Constitution. The Prime Minister shall keep the Governor General not partially informed, or whenever I feel like, he shall keep the Governor General fully informed concerning what? The general conduct of the government of Jamaica. Let me show you something. When you remember that chart I put up? When you remember this? You can be up that chart, Kevin? Come, I don't want, if I touch it, I'll pat me up eyes.
Yeah.
Touch it, you know. Me up eyes. Yeah.
No man, you can't beat up the regular way to big up.
No, sir. If I touch it, no, me not no confidence in myself. I tell you the truth. To big this up, me I gonna lose it. I'm Mr. Richard a squint, so that's why I'm saying I could do it, you know. And producer Joan, me know so she say, why not go to me the program I'm put up for him? I'll get it, producer Joan. I can't hear her. I say, where I tell you? I spend so much time, I build up this nice thing, and the man I ignore it. All right. Here's where it's a, oh, you use it, you big it up, Kevin?
That big enough?
Oh, yeah, none of people can see. But look, folks, at the top of this organizational chart, you know, it says monarch. Monarch, meaning the king of Jamaica. That's what that means. Below the king of Jamaica is the governor general of Jamaica. Nowhere do we see our prime minister, you know. Nowhere. Follow the line, come down. Next, we come to legislature, executive, and judiciary. Under the executive, we say prime minister. So, look, prime minister, you see where the line go? It go up to governor general and then to monarch, right? So, let me go back to the chart where Kevin put up the, give me that a while ago.
The information.
We don't see it.
It's the first PDF.
No, man, not the first one. The first one of the You see why I can't trust me with them things. I know.
No, after Jump and then Dalrymple and then.
Oh, that's all? No,
yeah,
man.
man.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. So see it right, that's all. Yeah. It says the prime minister shall keep the governor general fully in, not the other way around, you know, not the governor general should keep the prime minister, you know. Is the prime minister must keep the governor general fully informed concerning the general conduct of the government of Jamaica and shall furnish the governor general with such information as he, the governor general, may request with respect to what? To any particular matter relating to the government of Jamaica. So think about this, people. Our governor general not have to respond to Rattigan, but the prime minister must respond to the governor general. The governor general not have to respond to Rattigan, not have to respond to the prime minister. Nobody. Because Fiend boss, they are England. See it right, I say no. See it. So when you talk about bro God, please give me a break. Real bro God are the governor general. Right? All right, make us scroll along and come on, bring in Richard and I'm wait patiently. All right. Now remember, we're telling you how laws are made in Jamaica. Here's how. You have a bill like what is going through the parliament right now. Piece of paper with a proposed law concerning anything. And for the most part, it depends on some things you need a majority vote, some things you need a 2/3. Like the bill now with the Constitution, it requires 2/3 vote in the Parliament, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. Now, when that bill goes through and them have them discussions and them vote and them say, yes, we have a bill. That bill is not law. It's just approved. It's not law. Because there are 2 steps more. The next step is that it must go to the Attorney General. Must go to the Attorney General for a review for constitutional sufficiency. What that means is that the Attorney General will look at it because he's very familiar with the Constitution, and he'll look and say, okay, this law doesn't breach anything in the Constitution, and therefore it is fine. And then the next step, it goes to the Governor General, and then he gives what is called an assent, meaning him agree with it and him sign off on it and him say, yeah, bill good. So him sign on behalf of the monarchy, right? But look at this. says a bill shall not become law until the Governor General has assented to it. Just talk about that, right? But then there is something else. Then if we put that up, Kevin, where I guess we didn't. Hold on. There's a section. Let me tell you which section it is. Section. Give me 1 second, the people. I have my notes. Yeah. Wait there. I think a section 18, Kevin. I think it's section 80.
Section 80 is leader of the opposition.
Not 80, sorry. Section 60. Section 63. Hold on. You have the Constitution right, that's all right?
Assent to bills.
Yeah.
I think we did put 60 in there. We did?
60 there? No, that's
so.
32. 63.
Oh,
Okay.
63.
Yeah, you're right. It's there. Look at the bottom.
Yeah.
It says, when the bill is presented to the Governor General for assent, he shall signify that he assents, or that what? Look on that, people, or that he withholds assent. Him can't say, me nah sign it. The Governor General can tell the entire Parliament and the country of Jamaica that whatever law you think good for you, I don't like this lawyer, and therefore I'm not going to sign off on it. And guess what? Look at this. A bill shall not become law until the Governor General has assented. So if the Governor General says, me not sign it, no law. And we want to give the president them powers, your people.
So,
And believe me, it's far worse than this, you know. We just touched the tip of the iceberg. It's far, far worse than this.